Okay, so we have a choice. Stick with Windows 11. Run over to Linux. Hopefully that will help your problem. And with Linux, you have choices. You have a whole bunch of different OSs you can play around with. You got Chromebook. It's been around all the time. Dirt cheap. But it's a locked down environment. Or you go to the Mac OS. What do you want to do? But Windows, Windows is easy. You turn it on. You log in. You have your apps. Boom. You can download stuff off the internet. Play your games. Enjoy your life that way. Or you can get rid of it, put Linux onto the computer, check one of the popular desktop interfaces that looks similar to Windows, but it's really Linux and underneath. Remember, Linux is different from Windows. Windows, you can sit there and tweak the system down until it works the way you would want. Linux has a lot of those features. They say Linux how to operate. It's an operating system. Anything that's going to change the environment operates. It operates and it's a system of kernel. Windows have a kernel as well, and everything works together in tangent. But I've tried so many different versions of Linux, and I can never find one I can feel comfortable with. Right now, my Zorin box is working. Zorin 18 OS as a NAS. Updated, it works. Disconnected T-Mobile because that was causing problems. Because this is on fiber, so when this connects to fiber and this connects to the NAS, which is supposed to be on the fiber network, because we don't want no legacy problems, it just works like that. I've been creating background pictures. I've been creating a new banners for my channel. I'm fixing up a lot of stuff on the channel, and I need to access my graphic files. And the Zorin is right there, working like clockwork. So is Zorin better? Well, it's easier. It's the free version. You update it, it'll install everything for you. You don't have to sit there and type in, bring up terminal, type in these hieroglyphics for getting to the Linux. But you have to choose. I mean, you got Zorin. There's another one that just came out that looks like and acts like Windows, but you gotta be careful. Okay. Windows 11 works, but if you buy a used PC, it might not work. You could try the trick. It's a trick to get it to work. On the Zorin one I'm working with there, it's not going to work. That's actually was made more for Linux because it integrated pretty well with Linux, and it works. But people say, hey, I got to turn this laptop into a Linux box. I'm going to turn Mac OS into a... I would leave the Mac on there. Even though the Mac can't upgrade, it still works. But I'm not saying Linux is wrong. And you can play around with Chrome OS. It's Linux, but it's locked down. Now, for instance, I showed you a video where you can go to Google browser. Next to your name, you have these dots. Click on it, you get into the Google doc file, and you can copy. Say you were talking to one of the AIs, you want their information. You copy that information, you put it in the Google docs, and you can save it. It saves to the well, you can save it to Google OS, or you can save it directly to. Okay, so you save it to Google OS, then you drag it and you put it on the NAS. It works. But Chrome OS has a tendency of trying to connect to T-Mobile. If I disable the T-Mobile, then it's forced to work with the fiber. And if it does that, it'll be easier to move the files around. So you can do a lot with the... Google made Chrome OS more like Windows. Streamlined. You don't have to worry about anything. But you still have some tweaks in there to to run it. Otherwise, it's going to run a little, sluggish. It doesn't run fast out of the box. Because there's no excuse to have a slow computer today. And they all should work fast out of the box. But they don't really want to do that. And that's the problem that you have. So, which one is better? Well, you know what Windows does. No, Windows is not perfect. It's still a work in progress. They need to change the interface. They don't do it because there's a lot of problems by doing that. A lot of you're not on modern PCs. Well, technically speaking, you got a 64-bit processor. You got a 64-bit graphics card, but it's really acting like what? 128-bit, 256-bit, maybe higher, but it's going to a 64-bit bus. And working with a 64-bit CPU. So you see where that's going. So you got all this pipes, but you have it spread out, and it's going to channel down into a narrow tube. Now they're supposed to work with newer technology, and you don't have this problem anymore. They keep promising that you're not going to have this bottleneck. They keep promising you're not going to have this overheating issue, because we're still using particle boards, and then this side of the capacitors, side of the circuits, and the fan on there, and maybe copper tubing. But you have to stop and think, what do you want? Are you happy with the Windows? Great. You getting upgrades? Yeah. Windows 10, they stop. Windows 7 lasts a long time. Lasts longer than 7 did. 7 had a problems with accessing more RAM and the CPU. It couldn't really work with multi-processor. So 10 could. 10 had bugs in there, and they were really bad. I was so glad when 11 came out. They solved the bugs, but they keep tweaking with it. And now they're integrating Windows. Let me see if this one has it. Oh yeah, Copilot's running. Copilot and OneNote needs to be turned off. I don't want Copilot running. I don't use it. I don't see what the need of it if you're using it. I use Meta AI. She's on this. We got Gemini Pro 3.1, which is AI agents on the side using working together. Oh my goodness! But Mac OS, it's easy Stevie's. That's what I call it. But I train in AppleCare to be an AppleCare agent. But it's easy. You log in, you type your password, your AppleCare password, you get in there, boom. Your desktop, you can get to your apps and everything. It's a little bit more structured than Linux. So, but you can download interfaces for it. It feels more comfortable. You have music production. I'm not saying Linux doesn't have all that stuff. It has it too. There's updates. So it's kind of sort of update. The thing is, whatever makes you feel comfortable. You want to stay with the Windows, stay with Windows. If you want to play with Linux, play with Linux. Okay? Some stuff you might have to ask the AI if you can't get the answer from Linux. If your background is more Windows programmer than a Google programmer, maybe you can't do Java and you maybe can't do Perl, and those are the languages they got out there that people are using to do things. And maybe you're limited to what you can. But Windows, it can work. You can use WiseCare or PC, what's this thing here? PC Manager. Your PC has a lot of temporary files. Let's boost. This is deep clean. Yeah. That's pretty good. So Microsoft PC Manager just popped up on the screen and it's telling me that the PC needs to be cleaned. It's too much junk. That's the problem. Windows 11, 10, 7, XP, 25, you name it. It didn't clean itself. So you have apps that have a lot of dirty code in them. They have to be cleaned out constantly. And that's the way these things are. Same thing with Chrome has the same problem too. Mac OS too. Mac, you can close out the apps that are running in the background to free up the RAM. I tried um, I think SD clean. I don't know if I tried it on that one though. So it's just to the point where you can't say, hey, this is not working the correct way. But it is kind of working. Hey, hit that subscribe button. Trying to get you guys get up to 1,000 here. We're kind of hovering around 600. We gotta get out and hit 1,000. Okay. Oh, you gotta notice we got some other features now on the channel. That's the affiliate program with YouTube. Okay. Microsoft, Amazon has an affiliate program. You work with them, but YouTube has it now too. But yeah. So oh. So what you should do? Chrome OS. Oh, it's in the other room. Chrome OS laptop will overheat. Yeah, it gets hot. It gets warm. Windows laptop, poof, really overheat. I haven't played around with the Mac OS on its laptop yet. I can't really comment on that. But the desktop does get hot. So what you want to do is if you can, try out the different OSs. You can get a second-hand Mac OS and play around with that. See if you like it. You can download Linux OS and either Zorin or I think that one's called Ideal or OS or something. What's Linux made? And you play around with that. You want something you don't have to type in cryptic code, binary code to get it to work. Okay? Oh. Let's just say here. What's VS Code? Okay. Playing out the PC Manager for Windows. I have WiseCare, but it doesn't. This one popped up on the screen, so it detected a lot of junk files. Now you don't want to touch Chrome. You don't want to touch any network settings because you can really mess with the network if it's not really taking care of the backing up the files. And this is an old computer here. It's still working perfectly. Oh, we're recording on the ZV1F today. I featured in that we have tagging on here too. YouTube affiliate, so we have that. So I'm gonna tag this, and if I can, I'll tag the lens too that I'm using. Okay. I'm also using a remote control. So I might tag this as well. So this is the remote control that I'm using. This is easy. Just turn this on. It syncs up with the ZV1F. Perfect. You know? It does a good job. And then you hit record. to record, and hit it again to turn off the recorder. You can take a picture, plug here, Type-C plug in, for fast charging. It's easy. This is a remote. This is a Bluetooth remote. Works right with the Sony. And the ZV-1F has one too, but it's a little different. It works a little differently. On this Z and F, C1, so auto focus on. That's the features of this little thing. Comes in handy if you record. Oh, it free up 5.2 gig of space. Wow. Interesting. Well, I do a lot of graphic works on the computer here. I made some videos. Might go back and do some live streams to show you what's going on with the Zorin OS. Remember, Linux is limited. It's supposed to do a lot of things. But the stigma is you've been using Windows. They have Windows in businesses, Windows in... I'm not saying they don't have Linux in businesses and stuff, but Linux is more binary. Let's think of it more like MS-DOS was, right? And then they brought Windows out, a shell to go on top of that. Because DOS still runs on this thing. Mac OS, strictly the OS. You don't really go and play with the kernel or anything. But Windows you do. And the Linux you do. Okay? It's a matter of preference. You're going to have Linux people are going to say, hey, I love Linux. It's the best thing on the planet. And Windows, you're going to say, hey, it's Windows is the best thing. But when you switch and you run to both, your mind's going to say, well, gee whiz, oh my God. Just to get the NAS to go, you have to program so much different variables to get it right. You want to add another person to the machine. And here, it would be easier on a Windows machine to set up the whole thing like that. But, you know, you still have to go on power. Power. I can't think of my head now. PowerShell again there. Oh my goodness, AI tools. I didn't see this. AI tools, create with AI. Search with AI. Huh. Microsoft is going to go to AI because if it doesn't do it, the others will beat it to it. So it's gonna the next generation. They need to take Windows, strip it clean, and build a brand new operating system that requires certain features. And I'm sure people will run out and buy a new computer because right now it's running the old 3.1 system on top of the DOS and there's different shells versions all the way up, and they try to make it stable and make it not crash. But it can crash. I haven't seen the Mac OS crash that much. Linux, it crashes in the background, but you'll know when it crashes. So 80% on Windows 11, 75% on the Linux Zorin OS. On Mac OS, I say 90%. Why give it higher than Windows? Because the interface is much better. Well, that's using higher graphics engine in there. That's why it's good for music production, video production. Windows, no, because it's the way it's built. These mixers out of the box, they work with it. You know? This mixer right up here. Mackie Pro VFX 3 works right with the Mac. You have to worry about no drivers and then just plug and play. Boom. Windows, you gotta get the driver for Mackie in there. It takes up a lot of RAM. So you better have a good system. What else? That doesn't do it. And then you have to get the music recorded properly. but you can use GarageBand or Logic Pro. Video production, I forget what you use. What's this? I forget what it's called. Let me see. The Mac OS video production. What's it called again? I know you can use DaVinci. You can use DaVinci with Mac OS. Oh, Final Cut Pro. Yeah, can't get my hands on that one. And that's another thing. If you don't get the one for the right operating system version for Mac OS, then you're just kind of screwed. Yeah, but that's what you need. And this is small enough to handle it. These are running Intel processor, so Apple's going back with Intel because the M5 is made in Taiwan. I mean, the M chip systems is made in Taiwan, and it's expensive. I'm saying it's not bad, but so they're going back to the Intel Core processing. Okay. Hey, again, if you found this video helpful, knowledgeable, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up. Trying to get up to 1,000. We need a 300 of you. 300, I think 10 at this time. Okay. All right. We're done.